Hello everyone, I'm so excited to be here tonight. My name's Jacob. I'm a neuroscientist, so in other words, I'm a massive nerd. And tonight I'm going to talk about serotonin, alright? You might know it as the happy chemical. Look at my smile. Happy chemical. But I'm going to talk tonight about how it helps our brain control our muscles. And I was just going to make a joke just then about brains, but I haven't got the nerves for that. When people find out I'm a neuroscientist, they say, you must study some complex things. They say, you must be pretty smart. They say, you must know what's wrong with Joe Biden. I don't. And because I'm a scientist, they also ask me if I've ever been outside before. I respond with, of course, I'm an outdoors type of guy. Don't mind a bit of walks, a bit of hikes, a bit of physical activity, a bit of travel, etc., etc. So when people think of what a scientist looks like, they think of something like this, right? I asked AI to generate a pic of what your standard scientist looks like. So not a lot of people guess that I'm a scientist when they ask what I do. I mean, look at me, nothing remarkable, just a boring looking white guy with glasses. There's actually a benefit to being a boring looking white guy with glasses, alright? And that is, I can shoplift to wherever I want, and whenever I want, and nobody ever suspects a thing, alright? Sometimes I even time my exit from the shop at the same time that an eshay is leaving, so that when the alarm goes off, I have a decoy. And because of the glasses as well, I also have a high definition view of those of you in the audience and aren't laughing at my jokes. So hopefully none of you guys own any shops nearby. Considering that not a lot of people can guess that I'm a scientist when they ask me what I do for work, it got me thinking, what does it look like I do for work? So I did what any PhD trained researcher would do when seeking the answer to complex scientific questions. Ask ChatGPT. I asked AI to generate a pic of what your average accountant looks like. White guy glasses. Interesting. I don't think I look like a lawyer. White guy glasses. Interesting. I don't picture myself as a teacher. White guy glasses. So it turns out I look like anything but a scientist. So maybe I chose the wrong career. So I think that studying how the brain controls the muscles is really important, right? How many of you guys know someone that suffered from a stroke? Yeah, a couple of you guys. As we get older, unfortunately some of us will have strokes. We might sort of lose control of the muscles on one half of our body. We might not be able to speak as well as we'd like to, slur our words, stuff like that. Maybe someone with a spinal cord injury. We love surfing here on the Gold Coast. I've heard stories of surfers diving headfirst into rocks and sandbars, and from that moment onwards, they can't move or feel anything below their neck. Maybe you know a family member or a friend with multiple sclerosis, or ALS, or motor neuron disease. Or you might know a mate that's just sunken 15 pints at the beer garden and they need to be physically lifted from the venue because they've just been knocked out in a punch-on with an Irish backpacker. In all of these conditions, the signals that are sent from the brain to the muscles are interrupted. I want you to think of the connection between our brain and our muscles as sort of like a motorway, or the M1 for us locals. Of course, if we're using the M1, we'll be going away from Brisbane, right? Towards somewhere nice. I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather not have my house flooded every couple of weeks. Sorry, I shouldn't be so harsh on Brisbane. I know they're trying really, really hard to be a city. Basically, in many nervous system disorders, the motorway, or the connection between the brain and the muscles, is damaged or congested. So think about the M1 and peak hour, and two tradies are fighting in the middle of the road because one of them was only going 140 kilometers an hour in the right-hand lane. Not fun. So due to this damage or congestion, in some people, they just can't move their muscles as well as they'd like to. Damn, so hard to shoplift. In my work, I try to study how, or the connections between our brain and our muscles, and basically what goes wrong when someone has a disease or disorder involving their nervous system. In doing so, I try to work out better ways to use things like drugs, physiotherapy, and technology to help those with nervous system disorders. So my work specifically focuses on a chemical in our brain and spine called serotonin. And yeah, we all know about serotonin. It's that chemical that makes us feel really, really good after an orgasm, right? Thanks, Kristen. That's my girlfriend in the audience right now. But serotonin, has important roles in things like mood regulation, social behavior, memory, basically all the things that I lack. Sorry, Kristen. But serotonin also does something else. So our research has found that serotonin changes the size of the motor signal sent from our brain to our muscles. I want you to think of a speaker playing some music, some sounds. We can turn the volume of that speaker up, and we can turn the volume of the speaker down. So we want to turn the volume of the speaker up when we're in Surfers Paradise on a Saturday night and a Taylor Swift house remix comes on. When we hear that pleasant tone at lunchtime when the food in the microwave is ready. Or when Kristen asked me if I want to make some serotonin. On the other hand, we can turn the volume down. When Baby Shark comes on the radio. Hate that song, I see some nods in the audience. When you're trying to get to sleep and you have that one annoying buzzing mosquito that just won't leave your room. Or when Kristen yells out at me to do the dishes that have been sitting in the sink for a week. We've found that serotonin sort of acts like a volume knob on a speaker. So serotonin can turn up the volume of the motor signal sent from the brain to muscles, but serotonin can also sometimes turn the volume of the motor signal down. All right, so when the volume of the motor signal is turned up with serotonin, we find that people are stronger. When the volume of that serotonin signal is turned down, we find that people are a lot weaker. So overall, this serotonin research made us realize that it's not always about the size of our muscles, but how we use them. Kind of like rock climbing, I don't know what you guys are thinking of. For example, when we give people drugs that increase the amount of serotonin in their body, we find that they're stronger. And when we give healthy people drugs that block the activity of serotonin in their body, we find that they're weaker. So if we can use serotonin or serotonin drugs to control or change muscle strength in healthy people, we might be able to use serotonin drugs to help regain some muscle function or better control muscle function in those with nervous system disorders. Take Mark, for example. So Mark's your average Gold Coast bloke, loves his fishing, he's on a first name basis at his local BCF, and he thinks that formal attire consists of a singlet, footy shorts, and thongs. One day, Mark's minding his own business, he's out fishing when a big wave comes along, sweeps him headfirst onto a rock. So, Mark wakes up in hospital a few days later. He can't move his arms and his legs, so Mark has a spinal cord injury. He can no longer hold a fishing rod, his fishing days are over. We might be able to use serotonin and serotonin drugs to help regain muscle control in people like Mark, and we hope to explore this work in the future. So, thanks very much for listening to me speak today. I hope you've learned a bit about serotonin and muscle control. And more importantly, I hope I've now changed the perception of what a scientist looks like. Thank you.